With breathtaking courage, she declares, "And so I will go to the king," which is against the law. "And if I perish, I perish." After 3 days of fasting, Esther puts on her royal robes and walks to the inner court, opposite the king's throne. She stands there, a silent, beautiful figure defying the law, her life entirely in his hands. King Ahasuerus looks up and sees her. The seconds must have felt like an eternity. Then, the text says, she won favor in his sight. He extends the golden scepter. Her life is spared. "What do you wish for, Queen Esther?" the king asks. "It shall be given to you up to half the kingdom." He senses this is no small matter. Here, Esther's true genius is revealed. She is not just brave, she's brilliant. She understands the king's psychology. Instead of blurting out the plot, she makes a simple, disarming request. "If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet that I have prepared for them." This move is flawless. It buys time, it honors the king, and most importantly, it includes Haman. This inflates Haman's ego, making him feel secure, while also piquing the king's curiosity to an unbearable degree. Why risk her life just for a dinner party? At the banquet, the king again asks what she wants. And again, Esther delays. "If I have found favor in the sight of the king, let the king and Haman come to the banquet, which I will prepare for them tomorrow. And tomorrow I will do as the king has said." Her patience is a weapon. She's reeling the king in, building the tension to its absolute peak. She is ensuring that when she finally makes her accusation, the king will be desperate to hear. She is also giving Haman one more night of arrogant pride that will come just before the fall. The queen's gambit is in motion. Haman leaves the first banquet walking on air. But as he passes the king's gate, he sees Mordecai, who still does not bow. This single act of defiance instantly poisons all of Haman's joy. He goes home and boasts to his wife Zeresh and friends about his wealth, his sons, and his exclusive invitation from the queen. "Yet all this avails me nothing," he spits, "so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate." His wife and friends offer a brutal solution. Let a gallows be made, 75 feet high, and in the morning suggest to the king that Mordecai be hanged on it. The idea delights Haman. Towering gallows would be a monument to his power. He immediately orders it built. But that night, a coincidence changes history. The king can't sleep. He commands that the Book of Chronicles, the official records of his reign, be read to him. Of all the stories, the servant reads the entry about how Mordecai had uncovered an assassination plot, saving the king's life. "What honor or distinction has been bestowed on Mordecai for this?" the king asks. The answer, "Nothing has been done for him." At that precise moment, a sound is heard in the court. It's Haman, arriving early to ask permission to hang Mordecai. Before Haman can speak, the king asks him a question dripping with dramatic irony. What should be done for the man whom the king delights to honor? Haman's ego blinds him. Who else could the king possibly want to honor but him? He describes a lavish public ceremony. Dress the man in the king's own robes, place him on the king's own horse, and have a noble prince lead him through the city shouting, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." The king nods. "Hurry," he commands. "Take the robe and the horse, as you have said, and do so for Mordecai the Jew. Leave out nothing of all that you have spoken." The humiliation is absolute. Haman is forced to personally dress his hated enemy in royal robes and lead him through the city, shouting his praises. After Haman rushes home in shame, his world turned upside down. The shadow of the gallows he built now looms over him. Haman barely has time to process his humiliation before he's escorted to Esther's second banquet. The mood is thick with tension. Once again, the king turns to Esther. "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" "The time for subtlety is over. If I have found favor in your sight, O king," she begins, "let my life be granted me for my petition, and my people for my request." She starts by pleading for her own life, which immediately captures the king's horrified attention. "For we have been sold," she declares, "I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated." She uses the exact words from Haman's own decree. The king is stunned. His queen is part of a people condemned by his own law. Who is he, and where is he, who has dared to presume in his heart to do such a thing? He roars. This is the moment Esther has been building to, but she looks directly at Haman and delivers the fatal blow, pointing as she says, "The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman." The name hangs in the air. Haman turns pale with terror. The king, overwhelmed with rage, storms into the garden. Left alone with the queen, Haman panics and falls onto the couch where she is reclining, begging for his life. At that exact moment, the king re-enters, seeing Haman on the queen's couch. His rage-filled mind leaps to the worst conclusion. Will he even assault the queen while I am in the house? It's the final nail in Haman's coffin. The guard sees him. Then, an attendant speaks up. "Look, the gallows, 75 feet high, which Haman made for Mordecai, is standing at the house of Haman." The irony is complete. "Hang him on it," the king commands, swift and final. And so, Haman is executed on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. The villain is dead, but his evil decree is still the law of the land. With Haman gone, the king gives his estate to Esther. Mordecai is brought before the king, and Esther reveals he is her cousin. Recognizing Mordecai's loyalty, the king gives him his signet ring, elevating him to prime minister, but the original problem remains. The first decree, sealed with the king's ring, cannot be revoked under Persian law. Esther again approaches the king, weeping, begging him to stop Haman's evil plan. The king is sympathetic, but even he is a prisoner of his own declared word. So Mordecai devises a brilliant workaround. If the old law cannot be erased, a new one can be written to counteract it. The king agrees. You yourselves write a decree concerning the Jews, as you please, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's signet ring. This time, the scribes write not a death sentence, but a declaration of liberation. The new edict grants the Jewish people in every city the right to gather and protect their lives, to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the forces of any people or province that would assault them, and to plunder their possessions. It's a mirror image of Haman's decree, empowering the Jews to fight for their lives with the full authority of the state. This new decree is rushed by couriers to every corner of the empire. Hope follows the path despair had traveled. When the decree is issued in Susa, the city erupts in celebration. For the Jews, there was light and gladness, joy and honor. The silent war had yielded a public, legally binding victory. The new decree did not promise peace. It promised a fighting chance. On the 13th of Adar, the enemies of the Jews prepared to act on Haman's original decree. But now, things were radically different. The Jewish people were organized and empowered to defend themselves. Furthermore, with Mordecai as prime minister, the fear of Mordecai fell upon them, and many provincial officials actively helped the Jews. What was meant to be a day of genocide became a day of battle. Across the provinces, the Jewish people fought back against those who tried to destroy them. The biblical text records that in the capital of Susa alone, they defeated 500 men, and across the empire, 75,000 of their enemies were killed. Crucially, the text notes twice that they laid not a hand on the plunder. This wasn't a war for profit. It was a war for survival. Esther then asked that the bodies of Haman's 10 sons, who were killed in the fighting, be displayed on the gallows. This was a grim but necessary political act, sending a powerful message that this would be the fate of anyone who conspired against the Jewish people. The king granted a request. After the fighting, the threat was eliminated. The people marked for annihilation had emerged as victors. In the aftermath, a new tradition was born. Mordecai and Esther instituted an annual festival to be celebrated forever. Purim, named after the paror lot that Haman had cast. Purim was to be a time of feasting, joy, and giving gifts to the poor. It's a celebration of reversal, a joyful reminder of how sorrow was turned into gladness and mourning into a holiday. It celebrates not just survival, but what many see as the unseen hand of providence guiding events from behind the scenes. And that's the legacy of Esther's silent war. It is a story of incredible human courage, of Mordecai's integrity, and Esther's transformation into a queen of strategic genius. Her phrase, "If I perish, I perish," is a timeless testament to the courage required to confront evil. The story is also a masterclass in strategy. Esther's patience wasn't weakness. It was a form of subtle power. She didn't break the system. She bent it to her will. Perhaps the most debated aspect of the story is its theology. The book of Esther is unique in the Bible because it never mentions the name of God. Yet, for many believers, God's presence is felt in the series of coincidences: Esther's selection as queen, Mordecai overhearing the plot, the king's sleepless night. These events seem to point to an unseen hand guiding human action. Mordecai's faith that relief and deliverance will arise hints at a power beyond the Persian court. The story suggests God often works not through overt miracles, but through the choices of ordinary people who dare to act for such a time as this. Esther's actions averted what could be considered the first recorded attempt at a state-sponsored genocide, securing the survival of the Jewish people at that time. While scholars debate the literal historicity of the book, its depiction of the Persian court is filled with accurate details, and it's best understood as a historical novella, a powerful story set within a real historical framework.